Welcome to the next part of this course, and in this course we are discussing the data protection compliance requirements. In the previous video, we discussed the principles number 1 and 3 related to the data processing, and now we will discuss the part principles number 3 and 4. If you have not watched the previous videos of this course, so please watch those videos as well, because important concepts are discussed. In the part 1 we discussed the overall overview of this course, then in part 2 we discussed the data protection and its importance, and in the part 3 we discussed the concept of data subject, the personal data, and the data controller and processor was discussed in part 4. And in the part 5 we discussed the data processing. What it takes to process the data is also discussed, and now we are discussing the key principles of the data processing, and the part 7 relates to the principle number 3 and 4. So in the part 3 in the principle 3, there is the requirement of data minimization. Data minimization means that the data processing should be for the adequate, relevant, and the data obtained should be limited to what is necessary in the particular situation. So the data minimization means that adequate information should be obtained, or the adequate data should be obtained for the processing, for the specific processing, and the data provided by the person or the customer or the data subject should be relevant and should be limited to what is necessary. As I earlier mentioned, that the data should not be provided in general form. There should be the elements of specific and limited use of the data, and so the relevant data should be provided by the data subject to the data controller. Part 4 is related to the accuracy. The data provided or the data obtained should be accurate, because the data processing would not be performed in a right manner if the data is not accurate. So the purpose of data processing is that the accurate data is processed, and the party that is providing, that is data subject, should ensure that the correct information is shared, and the data controller that is obtaining the information should also perform the scrutiny and relevant controls to assess the fairness and truthfulness of the data that is obtained. So these were the principles number 3 and 4. In the previous part we discussed principle 1 and 2. If you have not watched, then please watch, and I would like to request you, please share this video with your professionals, friends and colleagues who are in the compliance domain or who want to pursue their career in the compliance profession, like in some organizations, some financial institutions. And when we talk about the compliance is a very broad domain, and the data protection is a smaller part of that particular domain, but it is very critical because the regulatory authorities all around the world are taking strong measures to ensure that the data of the customers, citizens, and people is secured by the organizations that is collecting and processing the information. So let's move on to the part 8 of this course, and we will discuss the principles number 7 and 5 and 6 in that lecture. So let's move on.